The question we must ask ourselves is simple. Why do so many people set goals but fail to achieve them? This is a problem almost everyone in the audience can relate to, because we've all faced moments when motivation fades and old habits pull us back. I remember in my own life, whether in cricket or politics, success never came overnight. It came from the discipline of daily habits. In this video, I will take you step by step through the process of creating winning habits so that no matter what your dream is, you'll have the tools and mindset to make it a reality. Many people set out on the path of success with a lot of excitement and energy, but the problem begins right at the start. They are not clear about what they truly want. This lack of clarity is one of the biggest reasons why habits fail to stick. When you don't know what the bigger picture is, when your vision is blurry, every step you take feels directionless. You might start a new routine, maybe waking up early or exercising for a few days, but because you haven't tied it to a greater vision of your life, the habit quickly fades away. The mind naturally resists discipline when it doesn't understand the purpose behind it. Without clarity, even the strongest motivation eventually weakens, and you end up stuck in the same cycle of starting and quitting. This problem is not just personal. It exists in almost every walk of life, from students unsure about their careers to professionals who drift through jobs without a long-term aim, to athletes who train without defining their end goal. In all these cases, the absence of vision becomes the barrier that prevents small habits from turning into powerful transformations. The solution begins with a very conscious act of defining your vision with honesty and depth. You must ask yourself, what is it that I want my life to look like in the next 5, 10, or 20 years? When your vision is strong, it gives meaning to every habit you build. A person who decides to wake up early not just for the sake of it, but because he wants to maximize productivity to achieve a dream career, will find it easier to continue. A student who builds a habit of daily study, not because teachers told him to, but because he sees the long-term vision of becoming a leader in his field, will be more consistent. Clarity transforms ordinary actions into stepping stones toward extraordinary goals. Once the destination is fixed, every habit aligns like bricks building the road toward it. You don't just do things randomly. You know exactly why each habit matters. Writing down your vision, reflecting on it, and revisiting it regularly becomes the foundation for everything that follows. This is why leaders, athletes, and successful individuals always emphasize the importance of knowing your why before you focus on the how. Take my own example from cricket. When I was young, I didn't start by saying, I just want to play well or enjoy the game casually. My vision was crystal clear. I wanted to make Pakistan the best cricket team in the world. That vision gave me direction. Every small habit I built, whether it was hours of practice in the nets, improving my fitness, or studying the techniques of the best bowlers, all tied back to that one goal. Without that vision, it would have been easy to skip practice, to let laziness or doubt take over. But because the destination was clear, I couldn't afford to be careless with my habits. Even when others doubted or when failures came, the vision kept me anchored. It was never about short-term motivation. It was always about building habits that matched the long-term dream. Later in life, when I moved from sports into politics, the same principle applied. Without a clear vision for the country, the habits required for political struggle would not have been sustainable. Vision was the force that kept discipline alive, and it is the same force that anyone in this audience needs if they want to create habits that actually last. The biggest problem most people face when trying to build habits is that they attempt to change too much, too fast. They set unrealistic expectations, thinking they will completely transform their lives overnight. And when they fail to keep up, they quickly lose hope. This is why so many New Year's resolutions collapse within weeks. People plan to wake up early, go to the gym daily, study for hours, eat healthy, meditate, and read books all at once. The pressure of carrying so many new commitments becomes unbearable, and instead of progress, they experience guilt and frustration. Another part of the problem is that human psychology is resistant to drastic changes. When you attempt to overhaul your life suddenly, your mind and body feel overwhelmed, and your willpower is drained very quickly. As a result, what could have been a positive journey turns into a negative cycle of trying, failing, and then blaming yourself. This approach makes people believe that they lack discipline or strength, when in reality the problem is not their character, but the size of the steps they tried to take. The solution lies in starting small and staying consistent. A winning habit is not built in a single day. It is the result of repeated, small actions that compound over time. If you want to exercise regularly, don't begin with a 2-hour workout that you can sustain. Start with 10 minutes, but do it every day. If you want to develop the habit of reading, don't aim for finishing a book in a week. Start with just 2 pages daily, but keep at it. The mind accepts small changes more easily, and once these actions become automatic, they no longer feel like a burden. Slowly you can expand them, and what once seemed difficult becomes a natural part of your life. Consistency is far more powerful than intensity. A person who walks 10 minutes every day will be healthier in the long run than someone who runs for 2 hours once a month. What matters is not how big the effort is, but how regular it becomes. By breaking down habits into manageable steps, you also build confidence. Each small win gives you a sense of achievement, and this fuels the motivation to keep going. Over time, these small steps build momentum, and momentum creates transformation. Take an example from my own journey in cricket. When I first started training as a young boy, I didn't immediately have the strength or stamina to bowl for long hours. If I had pushed myself too hard in the beginning, I might have given up or even injured myself. Instead, I began with small, manageable routines, gradually building my fitness and technique. Day by day, I stayed consistent with training, slowly increasing my effort and discipline. This approach of steady progress allowed me to master the craft of fast bowling. Later, when I became captain, I applied the same principle to the team. I didn't demand overnight miracles from my players. I asked for small, daily improvements. We focused on basics, fielding drills, fitness, discipline in the nets. Those small, consistent steps transformed Pakistan into a team that could compete with the best in the world. The same method applies in life beyond cricket. Whether you want to build habits in studies, career, or personal growth, the path is the same. Start small, stay consistent, and allow time to do its work. This is how ordinary actions compound into extraordinary results. One of the greatest problems people face when trying to build winning habits is that they depend too much on motivation. They wait for the perfect mood, the right energy, or an external push before taking action. Motivation feels powerful in the beginning. It gives you the excitement to start something new, whether it's going to the gym, studying, or working on a project. But the problem is that motivation is temporary. It rises and falls like a wave. Some days you wake up full of energy and you feel unstoppable. But on other days, when life gets tough, that motivation disappears. If you build your habits on the shaky foundation of motivation, you will never be consistent. This is why so many people begin with passion and enthusiasm, but quit halfway through. They blame themselves, thinking they are weak. But the truth is that no one can rely on motivation alone, because human emotions are unpredictable. The problem gets worse because people keep waiting for that right feeling to come before they act. And in waiting, they lose precious time and miss opportunities. The solution is to replace reliance on motivation with the power of discipline. Discipline is about doing what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. It is the ability to act consistently, even on days when your mind resists. Discipline doesn't depend on emotions. It depends on commitment. When you set a rule for yourself and follow it every day, it becomes part of your identity. At first it feels difficult, but over time, discipline builds strength. The beauty of discipline is that it creates its own motivation. The satisfaction of keeping your word to yourself becomes a powerful force, stronger than any temporary burst of energy. When you rely on discipline, you are no longer a slave to your moods. You control your actions, and that control leads to progress. Step by step, discipline transforms small actions into permanent habits, and those habits create the foundation for long-term success. Take my own experience as an example. During my cricket career, there were countless days when I did not feel like training. Sometimes my body was tired, sometimes the weather was harsh, sometimes I simply did not have the energy or excitement. If I had waited for motivation on those days, I would never have improved. But it was discipline that kept me going. I created a routine where training was non-negotiable, just like eating or sleeping. Even when I didn't feel like it, I pushed myself to practice, to run, to bowl, to focus on fitness. Over time, that discipline became my greatest strength. It was not motivation that made me one of the best bowlers. It was discipline that carried me through years of hard work. Later in life, when I entered politics, the same principle applied. There were countless setbacks, criticism, and disappointments. Motivation was not always there, but discipline kept me moving forward step by step. I made it a rule to never give up, no matter how difficult the struggle became. This is why I always tell young people, don't chase motivation, build discipline. Because motivation will abandon you when life becomes hard, but discipline will carry you through every challenge. A major problem that prevents people from building winning habits is that they underestimate the influence of their environment. You can have the strongest willpower, but if you constantly surround yourself with negativity, distractions, or people who do not support your goals, your habits will collapse sooner or later. Think about someone who wants to quit junk food, but keeps their kitchen full of chips, sweets, and soft drinks. Every time they feel hungry, temptation is right in front of them, and eventually they give in. Or consider a student who wants to study seriously but spends most of their time in a noisy environment or among friends who are not serious about education. No matter how strong their intentions, they will struggle to stay consistent. The human mind is shaped by what it sees and experiences daily. If your environment pushes you toward laziness, distraction, or bad habits, it becomes nearly impossible to develop habits that lead to success. This is a silent problem because people blame themselves for lacking discipline, when in reality, their environment is constantly working against them. The solution is to design an environment that makes good habits easier and bad habits harder. If you want to build winning habits, you must take control of the space and the people around you. Start by removing triggers that tempt you back into your old ways. If you want to read more, keep a book by your bedside instead of your phone. If you want to exercise, keep your workout clothes ready the night before. So there are no excuses in the morning. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, who are committed to their own growth, because their energy will push you higher. A strong environment acts like a silent coach. It keeps reminding you of your goals even when your mind wants to wander. Just as a bad environment can destroy discipline, a good one can strengthen it. By being intentional about the spaces you spend time in, the routines you set, and the people you associate with, you create conditions where your habits naturally thrive. The environment becomes your ally instead of your enemy, making the path towards success smoother. When I look back at my cricketing journey, I can clearly see how environment shaped my habits. In the early years, I spent time with senior players who were highly disciplined and serious about the game. Just being around them influenced the way I approached training. Later, when I became captain, I realized that if the team environment was not disciplined, individual players could not perform at their best. So I worked hard to create a culture in the dressing room where hard work, fitness, and focus were valued. When everyone was committed, it became easier for each player to build good habits. The environment pushed us forward collectively. The same principle applied in politics. When I surrounded myself with people who believed in the vision of change, it gave me the strength to stay on track even during difficult times. If I had allowed negativity or weak commitment around me, my own habits of persistence and struggle would have weakened. The environment you choose can either drag you down or lift you up. And once you recognize this, you realize that shaping your environment is one of the most powerful steps in creating winning habits. One of the common problems people face when building habits is that they never measure their progress. They start a routine, but after some time, they lose track of where they stand and whether they are moving closer to their goals or not. Without feedback, habits can easily lose their direction. Imagine someone who starts a fitness journey but never checks their weight, never measures their stamina, or never observes how their body is changing. After a few weeks, they feel discouraged because they cannot see clear results, and many times they quit. The same happens with students who study every day without tracking what they have learned or where they are still weak. When progress is invisible, the mind loses interest and habits fade away. Another side of the problem is rigidity. Sometimes people set a fixed plan and never adjust, even when it clearly isn't working. They keep repeating the same mistakes, expecting different outcomes, and eventually feel stuck. Without progress tracking and adjustment, habits lose their effectiveness, and people lose the belief that their efforts are meaningful. The solution is to build a habit of reflection and adjustment You must regularly evaluate the habits you are trying to build and check whether they are producing the results you want. This doesn't mean being overly harsh on yourself. It means being honest and aware. If you are trying to build the habit of saving money, keep track of how much you save each week and compare it with your target. If you are learning a new skill, measure your improvement at regular intervals. When you see even small progress, it motivates you to continue. And if you notice something is not working, you can adjust your approach instead of blindly repeating the same action. Tracking progress turns invisible growth into visible achievements, and those visible achievements build confidence. Adjusting your methods ensures that you are always moving forward, not just wasting energy. Just as a captain changes strategy depending on the opponent, you too must be flexible in your approach. Progress is never a straight line, but by measuring and adjusting, you make sure the direction remains correct. From my own journey in cricket, I can say that tracking progress was essential. As a young fast bowler, I was not always accurate or consistent. I made it a practice to evaluate my performance after every match, looking carefully at what worked and what failed. If I was conceding too many runs, I would analyze my line and length and adjust in the next game. If my fitness was lacking, I would increase certain training routines. This process of constant reflection and adjustment helped me improve steadily. Later, when I became captain, I applied the same principle to the team. We would review every match, identify weaknesses, and adjust our strategies. Without this habit of reflection, we could not have developed into a world-class team. The same principle guided me in politics. Each campaign, each struggle was a chance to measure progress and refine our approach. There were setbacks, but instead of giving up, I treated them as lessons, making necessary changes while keeping the bigger vision intact. This habit of tracking and adjusting allowed me to stay consistent even when challenges seemed overwhelming. And it is the same principle that can help anyone turn small actions into lasting success. One of the greatest problems people face in building habits is impatience. They want quick results, and when those results don't appear, they lose hope and quit too early. Modern life has trained us to expect instant gratification, whether it's fast food, quick information, or immediate entertainment. This mindset carries over into personal growth. People go to the gym for a week and expect to see dramatic changes in their body. They start studying for a month and expect to master a subject. When this doesn't happen, frustration builds and the habit is abandoned. Another side of this problem is that people fear setbacks. The moment they face failure, missing a few days, falling back into old routines, or not seeing progress, they believe they are not capable and give up. They fail to realize that setbacks are a natural part of building anything worthwhile. The combination of impatience and intolerance for failure becomes the biggest obstacle that destroys habits before they can fully develop. The solution lies in cultivating resilience and patience. Habits are not built in a day, a week, or even a month. They are the product of long-term commitment. Just as a tree takes years to grow roots before it stands tall, habits also need time before they become a natural part of life. Patience allows you to keep going even when results are not visible. Resilience helps you recover from setbacks without losing your momentum. If you miss a few days of practice, it doesn't mean you have failed. It simply means you must begin again with the same commitment. Progress is not about perfection, it is about persistence. The small actions you repeat daily may not seem to bring change immediately, but over time, they accumulate into powerful transformation. When you accept that success is a journey with ups and downs, you free yourself from the frustration of expecting quick results. Instead, you focus on the process, and the process eventually delivers the outcome. In my own life, both in cricket and politics, resilience and patience were the qualities that made everything possible. When I started my career as a fast bowler, I faced many injuries and disappointments. It would have been easy to give up, but I chose to be patient with my progress and resilient in the face of setbacks. Each time I was injured, I came back stronger by working on my fitness and refining my technique. It took years of consistent effort before I reached the level of leading Pakistan to victory. Later, in politics, the struggle was even more demanding. For over 2 decades, I faced failure after failure, criticism from all sides, and countless moments where nothing seemed to be changing. Many people advised me to quit, but patience kept me moving forward, and resilience allowed me to endure the toughest periods. If I had been looking for quick results, I would have given up within the first few years. But by holding on, by staying committed through failures and disappointments, I was able to turn vision into reality. This is the lesson for anyone who wants to build winning habits. Don't expect instant change. Don't fear setbacks. Trust the process. Be resilient, and allow patience to carry you until the habits you are building become a natural part of your identity. So, let's quickly remind ourselves of what we've learned today. First, clarity of vision gives direction to your habits. Second, starting small and staying consistent builds strength. Third, discipline is stronger than motivation. Fourth, your environment shapes your behavior more than you realize. Fifth, tracking progress and adjusting keeps you on the right path. And sixth, resilience and patience allow you to keep going until your habits become part of who you are. These are the steps to creating winning habits that can transform your life. If you found value in this, make sure to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear about the habits you are building in your own journey. And in the next video, we will go even deeper into how to break destructive habits that silently hold you back so you can free your potential completely. Don't miss it.